What a weird fucking season it's been. We're more than halfway through the UFL's season in 2018, their 5th season, and we have a boatload of stories that we need to talk about this year. For starters, of course, the Connecticut Stampede being the Connecticut Stampede, essentially the Patriots of the UFL. 4-0 start to the season. That is absolute insanity. The Texas Watchmen, led by Corey Fabiano, their rookie quarterback, have just jumped into relevance after a couple of years of absolute pedestrian bullshit. They are finally in a position where they can actually make a run for the Spalding Ball. Mark August, the halfback for the Los Angeles Bolts, coming out of the Holy Cross Crusaders, along with Corey Fabiano, the aforementioned Corey Fabiano, has had a rough go of it, trying to get it going in the professional level. The Tampa Silver Stars have been absolutely destructive. The Vegas Demons are up and down. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And the same would be said for the Arizona Copperheads. And then on top of that, the Cincinnati Lynx are struggling with their starting quarterback, Skylar Howard. It's kind of like a faltering mess there. And the Seattle Avengers, 0-4 start to the season. Woo! That is absolutely insane. And on top of that, Shane Buechel and the St. Louis Eagles managing to kind of succeed in a world that's starting to struggle. And then on top of that, the Orlando Crusaders and the New York Sentinels are fighting just to kind of even smell the playoffs. It's insane. It's been a crazy season, and today I'm going to predict how the remainder of the season will go and unfold, with predicting the UFL playoff teams in 2018. So, of course, here's how the playoff standards or the playoff bracket works. The first seed gets a bye week, as do the second and third seeds. The 4th and 5th seed will play in a wild card game. So there is one wild card game per conference. The winner of that wild card game will face the 1st seed in the divisional round. The 2nd and 3rd seeds will face off, and the 1st and 4th or 1st and 5th teams will face off in the divisional round. The winners of those games will face off in the conference championship, and then we'll get to the Spalding Ball, which will take place on November 4th, 2018. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's predict the playoff teams in the wild card round for the Atlantic Conference. So in the Atlantic Conference, based off of league rules in which there needs to be at least 2 teams from each conference that make the postseason, and there has to be the first and 2nd seeds have to be the best seeds the best team from both the Atlantic and Pacific Central and Coastal divisions. So, in the Atlantic Conference, the 5th seed will go to the New York Sentinels. There is no way they host a playoff game this year. My apologies. And the 4th seed will be their fellow AC Coastal team, the Orlando Crusaders. There is a huge debate as to whether one or the other will make the playoffs. I think both will make the playoffs in a surprising fashion, but I think it's going to happen nevertheless. And then in the Pacific Conference wildcard round, I think the Arizona Copperheads will sneak in the postseason as the 5th seed, and the Vegas Demons will, of course, make it back to the postseason, as they are going to defend their Pacific Conference championship. So, we've got that unfolded. Now we look at the rest of the seeds. The 3rd seed in the Atlantic Conference I have going to Shane Buechel and the St. Louis Eagles. They have been a fixture in the Atlantic Conference. They've been able to battle it out with going toe-to-toe with teams like the Vancouver Outlaws and teams like the Kansas City Core. Just groups that have been able to hold in there for, whatever run they've had. And then the 3rd seed in the Atlantic Conference, in my opinion, will be the Tampa Silver Stars. I say Tampa, and it's for I give it a good reason. The Silver Stars are on fire right now. But last season, they kind of fell off the wagon when they were just starting to get going. I don't think that's going to change this year. The roster hasn't changed very much. It's just improved. So I still think they have that sense in their heads, and it's been proven since there is that consistency that we saw over the past 2 weeks in their games. So Tampa at the third seed. I think they'll still make the postseason, but I don't think it'll be in a high seed like everyone thinks. The second seed in the Atlantic Conference is the Kansas City Core. I think the Core, I may have called them the Chiefs earlier, my apologies. The Kansas City Core have been nonstop fantastic. Wide receiver Sarah, has been a great target for Jalen Hurts. And then on top of that, just the passing game and running game have been so balanced, it keeps everybody on their feet. That's going to be the second seed. And then the second seed in the Pacific Conference, I'm going to give the Los Angeles Bolts. I think that Mark August is a guy that will get his wits about him. I think he will improve. I think he will have a fantastic campaign for the rest of the year. I think he'll be able to get his shit together. He'll get everything going, and the Los Angeles Bolts will squeak in as the second seed in the postseason. It is a playoff caliber team. It's a team that can get back to the Spalding Ball, especially now that Jason Eason is healthy. So, with that, I don't expect anything less than a nice playoff run. And then, of course, the first seed in the Atlantic Conference, I'm giving to the Connecticut Stampede. They're essentially the New England Patriots of the UFLs. You know, it's difficult to kind of fight through a team that's stacked on everything: offense, defense, line, passing game, running game, secondary. They play smash mouth, hard in your face football, and it's going to help them succeed. They've got a 4-0 start to the season. They're clinching the first seed in the Atlantic Conference, no doubt about it. And then the first seed in the Pacific Conference. Shocker, shocker, shocker. Haven't said this in a number of years. The Texas Watchmen. I think they will be on top of all of it. I think Corey Papiano has had one fucking hell of a season. I just don't think there's any stopping him. Even everything down to the field goal kicking has been perfect. The only thing that they struggled on was, aside from their Week 1 game against Orlando, in which it was Orlando that really did them in, the only thing they really struggled on was the running game a couple of weeks ago, and they've solidified that now. So, yeah, that's the way I see it. So I think playoff seeds go fifth in the Atlantic Conference. Fifth go to the Sentinels. Fourth go to the Crusaders. Third go to the Eagles. Second go to the Core. First go to the Stampede. And the Pacific Conference, I think the fifth seed go to the Copperheads. Fourth seed goes to the Demons. Third seed goes to the Silver Stars. Second seed goes to the Bolts. And the first seed goes to the Watchmen. So, yeah, there you go. And, yeah, I think that's a pretty positive one.